In the store aisles, a quiet revolution is happening. With Endeavor, frontline staff aren't just selling products, they're building trust, making connections, and turning browsers into loyal customers. Let's see how. He didn't know which brand he wanted, just that the trail ahead was rocky. But she knew, because she'd trained for this moment right on her phone. A quick conversation, a confident recommendation, and a perfect fit hiking boot later, he's ready for his trip. That's right, she's a shop floor hero! It may be lunchtime, but between sandwich bites, he learned about fog fighting tech and snow goggles. An hour later, that knowledge helped a customer pick the perfect pair and add a helmet too. Learning on the go, selling with certainty, adding value. Yup, he's a shop floor hero! Endeavor is a mobile-first platform that equips retail staff with training, incentives, and tools to boost sales and brand engagement. Brands gain insights, sell-through improves, while retail associates stay motivated. Ready to get started? Just head to endeavor.io, update your brand profile, and upload your dealer list to access the free features and, when you're ready, launch your first pay-as-you-go campaign. With flexible, scalable options, Endeavor turns everyday interactions into strategic wins. The result? Be a shop floor hero! Endeavor's here to stay! Shop floor hero! Sell-through is the way! Rock fight! Rock fight! Rock fight! Rock fight! Rock fight! Rock fight! Welcome to the Rock Fight, where we speak our truth, slay sacred cows, and sometimes agree to disagree. This is an outdoor podcast that aims for the head. I'm Colin True, and joining me today, he's engineered for a cold IPA. It's Producer Dave!
Yes, I can testify to that.
You ready to talk about Columbia, buddy?
Oh, yes, I am. Yes, I am. We haven't talked enough about it.
I know, right? So coming up later today, Dave and I will be joined by the Senior Vice President of Marketing for Columbia, Matt Sutton, to talk about Columbia's Engineered for Whatever campaign. But first, some programming reminders. Be sure to come back to the Rock Fight on Monday, where Dave and I will be joined by outdoor industry insider Owen Comerford to talk about the outdoor industry. And on Tuesday, head to the Open Container podcast feed to get the latest from Doug Schnitzbahn. But the big news of the week will be the debut of Gear Abbey on the Rock Fight Podcast Network. That will be next Thursday, September 4th. Go follow and subscribe to Gear Abbey now. And hey, Dave, if any of our listeners wanted to reach out to us, maybe follow along with anything else that we do, what would you recommend they do?
Well, Colin, the directions are simple. They might even be familiar. If you want to sign up for our newsletter, whenever that may come out again, we're not quite sure. Head over to the rockfight.co. Follow us on Instagram. Get some video clips of our latest podcast episodes, or email us at myrockfight@gmail.com if you've got a chip on your shoulder, want to throw a rock, or, just even crazily enough, have something nice to say.
All right, well, let's get into it. But first, the opening shot on today's episode of The Rock Fight is presented by Lems Shoes. As the summer season wraps up, now's a great time to get ready for fall with Lems. From easygoing slip-ons and refined leather lace-ups to tough, trail-ready boots, Lems offers footwear for every occasion. And guess what, guys? Their fit is unmatched. If you've never experienced the fit of a pair of Lems, I think Producer Dave, he just feels sorry for you.
It's true, Colin. If you don't know what fit first feels like, then you are fit second.
Fit less.
Fit more.
So built with comfort, durability, and the versatility at their core, their collection is ready to take you wherever the season leads. And with fresh, exciting styles just around the corner, be sure to stay tuned. But in the meantime, head to lemsshoes.com right now and get your feet into the best fitting shoe you've ever worn. Okay, so we're back with the brief. This is a semi-regular deep dive featuring our brand and creative expert, Producer Dave. A few weeks ago, we looked at Speedland, and today, how could it really be anything else? We're going deep on Engineered for Whatever by Columbia, and we covered the launch of this campaign on the Rock Fight a few weeks back. And out of that conversation, we then heard from Columbia's SVP of Marketing, Matt Sutton, who, like I said, you're going to hear from shortly. But let's set the stage, Dave, for this edition of The Brief. So why is kind of an obvious question, but let's just start with, why did you want to go deep on this one?
Because why not, Colin? There's a couple reasons. As if you heard our last discussion, we genuinely liked what we saw. As much as maybe there were unanswered questions, and certainly in spite of some of the conversations that it provoked. But for oftentimes we're talking critically about things, and so when we see something that strikes a positive nerve, we should talk about it.
I don't want to step too much on our conversation with Matt, but when I look at some of the things that they're doing with Engineered for Whatever and how they created the campaign, specifically the agency they brought in for this, which was Adam and Eve DDB. And before knowing about them, I just assumed it was the adult toy, online website. Adam and
Eve still might be,
but that doesn't seem like is that a typical choice? Would you say for an outdoor industry brand? Do you typically see an agency like that doing work in our space?
No, not at all. And there's nothing typical about this whole thing. And I think that's, again, part of the what makes it such an attractive discussion point, right? You have a relatively conservative, staid brand for the most part, reaching back to kind of a historic justification to do some irreverent work, then really going off the rails with that and bringing in a British agency known for big, high-level work, conceptual work, not necessarily disruptive in-your-face type things that would appeal to American younger sensibilities, which is exactly what they've done here. So no, there's nothing traditional, except for the fact as a global agency, and we'll talk about this probably, that you're always looking for ways to create umbrella campaigns that resonate outside of just the U.S. market. How do you draw some of those connections? And sometimes bringing in a UK-based group can help you do that.
How do you look at Columbia right now? How do you see that brand as a creative? Maybe heading into this, prior to this thing dropping.
Look, this is the first big brand campaign they've done in a decade. So it's not like there's been a lot of juice there. And a lot of their stuff is very kind of straightforward. Yeah. So I would say there's two ways. How do I look? We'll see. Like, this is the beginning, and we'll see where this goes. But as a first start, it's pretty interesting. And I think it should give hope to creatives who have to express brands, oftentimes like brands of the same features and benefits and essential brand qualities. And how do you do that differently? And that's, I think, what we have.
Yeah, hope is an interesting word, right? Because I think there's always often a lack of hope with the most vocal people in our industry sometimes, right? Because not that some of the criticism levied at Columbia, which we'll get into with Matt, by the more verbose outdoor industry people isn't earned to some degree. I understand the perception people have of Columbia when you're more familiar with a cooler, nichier kind of outdoor brand.
Yeah.
But I was, and maybe I'm just naive, I thought it was a little over the top, the sort of just outright rejection of this campaign by some folks. And it's like, what, it doesn't, that's why I thought it was just obvious what they were doing. Like they're clearly trying to do something different. And it may not resonate with you, but to say you don't really understand what they're going for here, which seemed a little, I don't know, that just seems silly to me.
Yeah, though I guess one thing when it takes to brands and creative solutions, there really isn't just one way.
Yeah.
I mean, Columbia could have gone many different ways, some more traditional, some kind of out there, that all could work.
Yeah.
Right. And so I guess that's the thing. Some people just are going to bring the subjectivity to it, which it is. But I just tend to lean to things that are bright and interesting and new and energetic. And I think that checks all the boxes.
All right. Well, this is the second edition of The Brief. And already we have a pretty high ranking official from the brand we're covering. So this is exciting.
Yeah, it is. Because I think that's what we want to get to. Where did this come from? How did it come to be? And how's it doing?
I want to have somebody on someday that did something that you and I just really didn't like at all. I think that'd be really fun.
Oh, I would love them, and I would love them to hand us our asses in terms of rationale,
right,
and why it's right and why we're wrong. You bet.
That's amazing. All right, well, let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, Dave and I will be joined by Columbia's Matt Sutton. All right, today's edition of The Brief on The Rock Fight was presented by Oboes, who wants to share their love of hiking, and we want to help them by uncovering all the different ways we love to take the long walk, including the following. Number one today, that squirrel that stole your snack. You know what? You respect them for it.
Yeah, you kind of have to.
Some snack-stealing squirrels up there in Portland, Dave, just out there.
Oh, dude, the squirrels up here are next level.
They wax their whiskers.
Yeah, it's almost like we have the Sharks and the Jets, though. You've got multiple kind of gangs hanging out on different sides of the branches, all making a break for the food supply. It's something to watch.
Number 2, you get to high-five strangers without explaining why. I co-sign that. I think people should do more weird stuff like that on the trail.
I think we should not describe it as weird, but as just acknowledging your fellow human in a positive, uplifting way.
I love that.
Come on.
Number 3, every tree is silently rooting for you.
I like to believe that too.
Yeah, they call you out. You're going by like, go Dave.
I need that.
Especially the trees that see you cruising by in a pair of Oboz Highlight Mid waterproof boots. Oboz Highlight is rooted in the spirit of Highlight Canyon, designed for lasting comfort and made with recycled and bio-based materials. The Highlight collection is designed to support your stride, whether that's out on rocky switchbacks or wandering closer to home with those judgy squirrels, we say, the snack stealing squirrels and the high-fiving strangers. And this hiking appreciation moment is brought to you by Oboz of Bozeman, Montana, the maker of premium quality footwear for the trail and the Cupid to the outdoor world. Oboz, love hiking.
Do you have a squirrel in your throat?
I have a squirrel in my throat, apparently. All right, well, I am here with producer Dave and Senior Vice President of Marketing for Columbia, Matt Sutton. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, thanks for coming on. Thanks for reaching out to us. It was great to get your email.
Well, I heard the call out, so we had to reach out, and it was just a fantastic conversation to listen to. So we're like, we got to get on and talk to you all about it.
I love those call outs. We just never actually expect anybody to be listening to them, to hear them and do it. So it's great.
We know that every brand sits around on a round table on Monday morning.
That's right.
Listen to the Rock Fight as a team and, take action items.
Uh-huh.
I think you've got a captive audience of folks who are driving in on Monday morning and listening in this category.
Right. Well, that was the goal. So I'm glad if it's happening at all, that's exciting. But we're obviously here to talk to you about Engineered for Whatever. I assume is it your baby? Is this your baby?
Certainly. Yeah. It's been my entire life for the past year.
Right. Because you came in to Columbia, it was in 2024, basically, and then they kind of right into this.
Yeah. We started this journey with the agency, almost 18 months ago. And I joined just about a year ago, right as we were starting the development of the campaign.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go back there, because anytime producer Dave and I see what a brand has done, whether we liked it or not, we always really want to know about that inception moment, right? When a brand's marketing team is sitting in a room, they're working through ideas, lightning strikes. Sometimes it fizzles and they follow the fizzle when they should be waiting for the strike, but that's okay. And it's something for a new campaign, right? So what was that moment? Even if it was maybe predates you a little bit, like what was at the beginning of what became Engineered for Whatever?
Ask him the question, Qual.
Yeah,
right. Ask him the question.
What was the brief?
Yes.
Well, yeah. So it's funny because even when I was interviewing, we were talking about kind of the strategy of this campaign, and it started with Joe Boyle. Actually, Columbia started a transformation across the whole company 2 years ago called Project Accelerate, and 18 months ago, actually, Joe Boyle sent a letter to the top 10 ad agencies in the world with a really beautifully written letter outlining what we wanted to do. And he basically said that he wanted to find a partner who could help us get the Columbia brand to be different from the recent past, but familiar to our legacy. And so with that letter and with that impetus, we went through the pitch process and narrowed it down to Adam and Eve. And then when we got in the brief, our brief was really simple. With that letter, we also put up 6 images on a wall, and they were 6 images of the competitive set. We took little Post-it notes and blacked out the logos. And when you did that, they could all be from the exact same brand, one brand, beautiful, perfect, serene, sunny weather, overly serious models, posed shots. And we're like, this is the brief. We want to do something different from this that is true to our heritage. And it went from there, and it was really, really natural.
I know that mood board. Yeah. I've seen that mood board.
Yeah,
But
sure. Yeah, I shared
and
it
I
with you.
love that as a metric of tying the product into the brand, right? Where we talk a lot about that in the pod about like cover up a brand's logo and can you still tell who made that product, right? And so to bring that
Yes.
into the creative process, I mean, Dave, have you ever heard of that before in your career? I mean, that sounds actually so
Uh,
simple, but I don't think it happens a whole lot.
Honestly, Colin, that's something they teach you day one in a sense of
Oh,
a good advertising strategy type of that's it. But how easy is it to get lost in that?
yeah, or hire people in the outdoor industry who don't have that background.
We call it too. There's a lot of ads that sell the category, not the brand. Right? And that's what it's
Yeah.
kind of referring to. Yeah, they all sell outdoors, but they're not distinguished between which brands, why they're different, what makes that exciting. So to start from that base, I think that's perfect. That's how
I
you get great work.
I was actually really hoping that Matt was going to say that like they started with this an image of the Grim Reaper chasing somebody, like build off of this, that
And that also worked too.
that
We
That would
would.
be
got there a
so
few
good.
months in.
Yeah, that would be so great.
But to that point, like so, and not to jump ahead because we want to talk about some of the louder voices who maybe didn't like the campaign so much in the industry, but at the same time, like one of those kind of recurring loud voices was like the kind of where how they view Columbia as a brand and the products and things like that. So when you now look at the brand, like where is it from that point? Like where do you want the brand and the product line by extension to be at some point? Like, where do you want this to go?
For sure. I mean, if we look at the brand where it is right now today, or even a month ago before we launched the campaign, which is today, really, it's known. It's a trusted brand. It's a staple, across the U.S. and globally. People know it, and consumers tell us that it's trusted, value oriented, durability, lasting quality. A lot of good, positive sentiments around that. It's also and has not been a part of the cultural conversation for several years. And so we have all these amazing like brand association and attributes with current customers and like all cross demographics that we just want to build on and sharpen and get to a point where in 6 months time Columbia is regularly talked about as it has been for the past month within the industry, but also and we can talk about the response from consumers. And then in 1 to 2 years, like getting credit for our innovation. I talked about that slide of sea of sameness, and that was from a creative perspective, but there is a sea of sameness in technology in the category. Like this is something we get very little credit for is the fact that most of the category is licensed the same licensed technology, and we have a lab here in Portland, and then global production of our own proprietary technology that is objectively tests better, and we just don't get credit for that. And so being known for innovation, and that's kind of the product testing that we've done is something that we're really focused on.
That's a really interesting point. So, Dave and I both our backgrounds, we're at Polar Tech for a fair amount of time, right? We've worked in the sort of material side of this world. And there is just, and this goes back to, again, I think the critical voices of like, it's the perception of what is either core or cool or acceptable or whatever. And even if you can sit here, and we actually experienced this with even products that we made when we were at Polar Tech, but even if you can sit here and show us all through the entire, proprietary technology fabric line that Columbia has, and show it how it perfectly matches up against a Polar Tech or a Gore or a Scholler or a Primaloft, whatever. It's at some point it stops mattering to certain people. They're like, yeah,
Yes.
but I'd buy it if it said Gore-Tex. Like, but why? Like, what's the difference?
Well,
We're showing you
y-
technology wise and
y-
performance wise. It's not going to be. It might even be better.
Yeah, I mean it's always going to be an emotional purchase that's rationalized, right? And so other than those pro athletes who are really focused on it, it's more about the brand perception first and what is associated with that brand. And so in that
Yeah.
case, we got to grab credit back for what we actually
mm,
do have from an objective
it's
technology perspective.
it's the cost of not being part of the cultural conversation.
Exactly.
Right, you talked about that Gore-Tex. They have figured out how to maintain at least that type of conversation in at least part of the culture, so it maintains their status, and they get credit for things that they don't even do. Right, they get credit for a much broader sense of technical innovation, and so I think it's crucial that you get that cultural conversation back if you want to then go start leaning into some of that core technology innovator side of the story.
But the technology is only one part of it too, though, right? So if it's just like the opposing point of view, like if you look at the line and colors and fit and things like that, there is a little bit more of a I don't every man, I don't know if that's the right word, but kind of like every day, almost like quality to the products themselves. Is that something that you guys are looking to deviate from, or even just from a color perspective, right? You could someone could be like, it's a little drab compared to this like interesting thing that Code Epoxy is doing or something like that, right?
Oh, 100%. And I think we look at it as an and. So like we excel in certain fits and product categories, and for the future customer and where we're going, we started that transformation 2 years ago in our product lines and evolving, a variety of things like style, fit, um, form, colorways, everything.
Colin, I never thought I'd say this, but Columbia is bringing us improv vibes, right? Yes, and right.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Let's
right.
go.
Well, back to the campaign itself. I mean, were there any other? I mean, obviously, you guys then settled on Adam and Eve DDB as your creative partner. I imagine the pitch was just something that blew you guys away, or was it tight? Like, was there a lot of good ideas that came back from that request from Joe?
There were several fantastic finalists, and it was really down to two. And then Adam and Eve, what they did was they spoke to how we could, how they could help us get a return to our special sauce in a modern way. We really, in the process of vetting and thinking about what we wanted to do, knew that the path forward involved a bit of looking back, and they helped us look back and distill that iconic, Gert and Tim campaign and what that was into really just fun, irreverent tests of our product and how to take that special sauce and make it relevant for today, and do it without them involved in every ad. And so that I think is what really uh, turned the leaf for us there.
So what is this? I mean, beyond just like the Gert and Tim campaign, like
Which
what is
gets back to
the
the
special
brief. Yeah,
sauce? Yeah, what is
this
the special sauce of Columbia? Yeah.
So, I mean, it's two things. It is, you see it in the campaign work, but one of the insights in the brief was actually, and it's funny because I see the conversation around what does this resonate with consumers, actually anchored on a very tangible consumer insight that I think is resonating with them as we see their reaction, which is they told us in surveying, qual and quant surveying, that um, the outdoors is actually scary to them. When they go on a hike, they're worried about tripping or slipping and falling. And if you speak to that, but you speak to it in a way where you show the challenge and then you show them prevailing, um, then it resonates in a unique way. It's what they want to see. They don't want to see the perfect model on the side of the mountain. They want to see real people going up. And so that special sauce was present in the legacy campaign where it was like, Gert put Tim through a car wash or drove over him in the Zamboni. And it was this crazy kind of situation, Mother Nature or otherwise, that they went through and then prevailed on the other end thanks to the product that helped them. So it's being more real, I think, with the extremity of the outdoors.
I
you
honestly
know,
just think it's a lazy point of view. I mean, it's the same thing as being like, "Oh, I saw this horror movie. That's going to keep people from going to see movies." It's like, no, man. Like, people want to see stuff like this. People understand there's inherent risk in a lot of different things in a lot of different ways, and just to kind of have that knee jerk, like, just I'm an outdoorsy person, and now this other person won't want to do it because they saw an ad with a rattlesnake bite in it. It's like, give me a break. Come on, what are we doing?
well, it's we do sell the public ability short to determine what's humorous and what's
Right?
facetious and what's over the top. I mean, it's got more in common with Monty Python than it does a nature documentary, right?
Yes.
So I think that's a good place to be. Also, talk about the kind of the heritage of how you do product demonstration because those are also inherently tied into the Gert and Tim saga.
That's the piece of the campaign that we are perhaps most excited about is we think that we've cracked a repeatable ownable device of these extreme mother nature tests, where we have three this fall. I think you have seen all three of them, including the ones that are to come. And
There was a new one today of the influencer who gets actually butt dials search and rescue.
exactly. And that's all like adjacent content to those core assets because we created, obviously hundreds of variants of different assets for channels. But the core of that was take a person in a larger than life situation that is a actual test that we did. We packed a woman up in a snowball, and she went down a Black Diamond ski slope in the Alps. We did actually hoist that gentleman by his pants from the helicopter.
Or mini pants.
That was practical? You actually lifted that guy up?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Dude, isn't that awesome?
No
Yeah,
AI involved in the product
I heard
tests.
somebody describe it as a mix between Jackass and Mythbusters, and I just think that is a perfect.
I think that was on our podcast.
No, that was somebody else with some
Quoting yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about your journey in terms of and then how it applies to the campaign, right? So, I mean, you spend time at places like Framebridge and Facebook and Fresh Direct. And so now when you kind of land in this spot with this program, and it's a year-long development, I mean, was it pretty seamless? Was there any sort of how did this sort of, I mean, and being maybe potentially kind of new to this world, what was that journey like over the last year?
It's really interesting because we had, in the process of talking about what we're trying to do with this campaign and where the brand needed to be, I think there was a recognition and an understanding that I give Columbia credit for, in that they saw, and in Joe's letter and in this brief, that the energy was gone from this category. And when we talked about what we could do with this campaign, I said, well, yeah, that's a macro trend I've seen across these different brands I've worked on. And I most recently was in the D2C vertical native, and brands that went into wholesale and retail, so on the other end of the spectrum. But there is a consistent theme, which is, over the past 10 years, the combination of the rise of performance marketing at all costs and a reticence to face criticism from brands led to a homogenization of creative and the complete removal of humor. And so when we talked about what we wanted to accomplish, I was like, well, I see this as much as a brand opportunity, as a performance marketing opportunity to do it differently.
Wait, when you say that homogenization, are you saying, is that from your experience outside the outdoor industry, or was that more of an industry, sort of outdoor industry observation?
Yes, this is now the since I was at Facebook, the third category that I've worked on, and it's a consistent trend across every category.
Well, and
bigger D2C brands to large brands, like some of the most iconic direct to consumer brands, Dollar Shave Club, or Warby Parker, for example. You look at them now, and they look like everyone else in the category, and they were disrupted initially.
Colin, it's super easy. Just look at anything that comes across your Instagram or your TikTok feed. You're going to see the same soundtrack, the same cut, the same type of storytelling. And it's too bad because, well, it does give an opportunity for you, though, to do something unique and different and go out there. So I have to ask this question, though. I mean, before we get to customer feedback from it. So Tim set the original thing in motion with his letter. Everyone's following to do that.
That was Joe.
It is super one. It's one thing to think that's where you want to go, and it's a totally another thing to see it presented in front of you live and in person, and the money spent. And so what was that meeting like when you're talking to senior management and you lay down your cards?
And you're the new guy, technically, right?
Here it is. It's not just a storyboard. Right?
They hand it to you, walk in, you're like, hey, here's this project. You're like, okay.
All right. So were you present in person for the actual viewing
were you on vacation that week?
Of the first cut of the piece? So tell us about that.
You bet I was not on vacation. Nor have I had a lot since I started. But no, I mean, so what's great about this is at every check, including that first one from the get-go, Joe, who wrote the letter, but even Tim said, are we going hard enough? Are we doing this as far as we should and differentiating ourselves enough? Did we push hard enough? And so every single point of the review has been, we'll show it to a group and there will be a reaction, and we'll assess, like, both within our company what the reaction is, and then we would, in each step of concepting, we actually tested it with consumers to get an understanding of, is there a big red flag somewhere? Like you could argue, the minority of people on LinkedIn had some red flags, right? And so we assessed those on, objective like consumer criteria, which helped us shape it. There were moments where, in one little area we might have pushed it too far and wrangled that back in. But I can't take credit for the courage that went into this because I'm the delivery mechanism, right? Like it really comes down to the fact that they pushed from the get-go. We have to use this as a vehicle to be different and bold. And so, it was easier to do it when you have that kind of support and belief in the work.
Yeah.
All right, and I'm putting you on the spot. Was there anything that, even if it didn't get shot, it was storyboarded, whatever, that didn't make the final cut that you could share?
For sure. Earlier on, we had very early concepts that were, as you get into a certain stage, now you use AI to generate concepts, right? And there were pieces where like the AI was too weird or wild, right? But that gave us the opportunity to say, okay, where's the range of humor and calibrate accordingly.
Yeah, but come on, specifically, like what's something you cut?
Well, I'm trying to
It's
think
okay if you
because
can't.
it was so different from when we
Okay.
started,
Yeah.
Um, I think we had a scene where there was a bear chasing a meat dummy, and it was just, I mean, it was hilarious, but it was like this is too weird,
Too
right?
weird and random, right?
Um, but ultimately, actually, that scene provided inspiration for some of the wackiness of the brand AV
Yeah.
of that first video that ultimately really resonated, which is like that multi-format,
Yeah.
of different types of scenes that
Throwing
are
them in
not
there.
what you would expect from this
Yeah,
category.
that's great.
Dave, I think Weird and Random is the name of our next company.
I
That's
think so too.
yeah.
Or meat suit might
Meat
be
suit is good too.
might be the way to go. No, that's great.
All right, so you get up, you go through all this work. You're in development. You're about to unleash it. Actually, let me ask you this first. Like, how did you guys settle on the social media strategy of just like wiping out Instagram and
Mm.
starting from scratch? I mean, I can't imagine that was a simple meeting with the social team, right? Like, you want us to do what? What do you want us to do?
Nor was it simple to execute. I mean, we're talking thousands of historical posts, right, that you have to archive. That this is a moment in time for us. So we wanted to, for the launch. So we wanted to signal, and also it gave us a fun opportunity to kind of tease that something is happening, right, last month. But we wanted to signal that it's a different, that they should expect something different going forward. And so we built that into the strategy pretty early on this spring in the rollout of set that moment in time so that we have a very different look and feel. And you probably are seeing it, like it's all tied in tonality wise.
Yeah.
We'll selectively unarchive some of the historical posts over time. But right now we're focused on like a clean look at the tone of the campaign going forward.
I think it was a great idea. I was picturing
Yep.
that poor social media manager that's like really proud of that really well performing like April 2023 post. Like, oh, my baby's going away. Like, it still gets engagement today, guys. Like, so that's great that you'll bring some
Oh,
of that
for
back.
real. And we're bringing it back for that
Okay, good.
reason. Archive, not delete.
Yeah, there you go. No, I love that though. Because again, you're putting your money where your mouth is, or at least your memory where your mouth is. Because yeah, the signal is hard to ignore, and I think it does speak in today's language of really what living by the intention. This is what we're doing, and so it's tough to pull the trigger. That's great.
All right, so night before the launch, like, what are you expecting? I mean, I imagine you were feeling pretty confident. I mean, especially if it's hitting the brief was like, are we going further? The support of the higher ups, all of that stuff. But still,
Yeah.
there must have been some nerves, right?
For sure. I mean, it's a moment that many hundreds of people across the company have been sort of night and day working at. WhatsApps with the agency at midnight for 12 months. I think we were hoping for a decent response because we knew it was different. Um, we were blown away by both the consumer and the industry response. What's interesting is we talk about kind of the reaction, but I think people just weren't used to seeing dialogue in our category about a new campaign or effort in this way. And so
Creativity.
Total nerves the night before, and really excited by the response. I mean, we're still early days, right? But certainly in the launch, just the energy and momentum, website traffic, everything.
About, we've already talked about it. I don't want to spend too much time like giving, any breathing oxygen to the haters, because I do think a lot of it is pretty misplaced and, it's just kind of silly. I definitely, well, I saw it first before Dave did, and I remember I watched it. I think it probably was on LinkedIn, and I immediately texted to him and called him, and I'm like, stop whatever you're doing and like watch this. And both of us just, like I can't believe they're doing this. It's incredible. And then, of course, within minutes, there's the, the handful of the folks who think they know better. Was that sort of almost baked in from the get-go? Like, we're going to ruffle some of those kinds of feathers as well?
I think there was almost a brief that if we're not ruffling some feathers, we're not relevant to the broader group.
All right, this is where I pitch you on becoming now the title sponsor of the Rock Fight, because that's what we do around here. Columbia is welcome to join in,
Yeah.
Anytime.
You guys threw some stones. Let's go.
Right. Yeah, totally.
The thing is, I think that the critique of making light of the dangers of the outdoors and the perils, like, we believe that Mother Nature and what you have to face needs to be respected and understood. And again, that was just anchored in the insight and the brief of consumers are telling us there's trepidation, especially those consumers that joined during COVID who are new to the category around going out there. So we thought it would actually be an accessible way to show people that you can get out there, and if you have the right gear, you can tackle anything.
Yeah, you're going to start putting instruction manuals on your gear how to avoid the Grim Reaper.
That's actually pretty funny.
Anti
some weird pagan like chant you got to do to keep the Grim Reaper away or something.
Just saying, it might be a new feature benefit.
I guess the last question for me, I think it's your point. If you're looking to ruffle feathers, and you did, right? And then the proof in the pudding here is, where are we in 6, 12, 18 months, right? I'm sure this isn't just the random brand video that you spent a lot of money on, and then, well, okay, what do we do next, guys? So, what is coming next? What is it? Is it new products? Is it color? Like, what is it that should consumers or people listening to the podcast, should be looking for from Columbia?
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's the most exciting part. Like, what we have seen is quite literally just the tip of the iceberg. From the video and campaign perspective, it is really about we have 2 brand new, like, huge product line launches this fall. One of which has already come out in the Rock Pant, which is another throwback to an iconic product that Columbia had in the past that we are doubling down on. That was the pant in the helicopter ad. We have another product coming this fall called a Maze Puff, which is new and very different from Columbia in an incredible way. And then from a marketing standpoint, it's funny because we talk so much about the long format ads. I am as excited, if not more excited, about some of the experiential earned media stunts and social activations that we're doing that are coming very shortly. That will be talked about and will be different, perhaps in a way that is even more so than the conversation around the ads, right? And then lastly, as like a small teaser, in about a week's time, we have a new brand ambassador launching for Columbia that is also a different, a very different pace in a really good way. And I think we'll all be pretty energized by that.
I can't believe you got Taylor and Travis. It's incredible. Like the week of their engagement too.
Wow.
Oh, should we not be announcing
outdoor
that?
activists?
Yeah. It was outside.
No, hey, look, I think you guys must be listening because, inspired, creative, experiential activities, good, difference making on social media. These are all something we're always kind of harping on when we're talking about brand stuff on the Rock Fight. So I'm just excited to sit back and watch it come out, man. This is great.
Oh, thank you. I mean, we're so excited. To us, it is not just a campaign, right? It's all the things you talk about differentiating in the category. We're trying to do that.
Yeah.
And create not just a paid but an organic conversation and get us on the radar.
Right.
Did you send the video to like all your old friends at Facebook and be like, see this suckers? Enjoy building AI or whatever you're doing today. Look what I did.
Well, what's funny, and there's a playbook for how they recommend that you deliver video in paid social, and we are doing some different things than their playbook would recommend intentionally, in terms of ad formats and the way that we're using it. So yeah, of course I sent it to them, but we're also kind of hacking the platform a little bit in the way that we're using it.
Well, you think they would respect that, the hacking element of it. So
the best practices folks don't like that. No, this is great. I just want to thank you so much for, like you said, reaching out and having this conversation with us. I think I hope we get to unpack more of these type of conversations, but this was really special. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming on. Thanks for reaching out, and congratulations. Excited to see how this keeps going.
Yeah, you have some fans in us of your show, and we had to answer the call.
All right, I'm back here with producer Dave. Matt has gone back to Columbia land, and thank you, Matt, for coming on the show. Dave, what'd you think? What'd you think of all the explanations from about engineered for whatever?
Look, I think it's awesome that we can have someone come and talk that openly about the process of getting these kind of projects together, because as you heard, they're not short term. There's a lot of thinking, a lot of effort that goes into stuff like this, and it's just cool to kind of peel back the layer a little bit and see what's going on.
So, did you work up a scorecard for this one?
Well, I always work up a scorecard, Colin. It's kind of part of the concept that we have here, for sure.
You ever see Dave at a trade show on a computer? He's doing scorecards for whatever it is you just sell.
Right. So I do have ideally you do a scorecard without all of the background that you get from the insider knowledge, right? But because that's not how the consumer looks at it, right? They just see it and react. But so my categories are originality, brand fit, messaging clarity, visual impact, strategic cleverness, and the F2G quotient, which is fucks to give.
That's right.
Do they care?
Yes. Do they care? By the way, we should do a consumer-ready version of this. We can put it on the website. The producer Dave, the brief scorecard that we can put up on the website.
Colin, that is so consumer-ready.
Oh, good.
So originality. Look, I'm going to give that a high bar. I'm going to give that an 8.
Yeah, this is out of 10, right? Every category's out of 10.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm going to give that an 8. How
does it not get a 10? They had the Grim Reaper chasing a trail runner.
All right, I can be talked into it. No, I'm going to go 9. I'm going to go 9 then. Yeah, right.
Yeah, 10's tough to get to. You got to make that a really high bar.
It is. And I think there might be a fuller brand conversation to that. But as an executed piece, totally original, especially if you're talking about the outdoor category itself, yeah, big time.
Right.
But it definitely follows in the line of, and I know everybody's favorite disruptive brand is, Liquid Death water. But it's, getting close to that type of really kind of slapping you across the face. Mm-hmm. Brands like Pit Viper employed, kind of this type of strategy in their own kind of on a way, but no, I thought it was fun to see for sure. Brand fit, boy, that's one where you could really just go straight up, on the other end, a 3. But when you take into kind of some of their strategic direction and the fact, if you do want to use the brand's heritage of using kind of this type of at least this type of comparison humor, this kind of the product demo, kind of humorous product demo, I'm going to give that a 7. Okay. Right. See where that goes.
Yeah. There's two things I think on brand fit. There's the brand itself and the products they make, and then kind of almost like industry fit in a way. Cause that seems to be the two biggest criticisms are Columbia's an entry level brand, or, this is going to scare people from going outside. Right. And it's right. I don't know. I think if you look at this the right way, it's hard not to just give it, high marks.
It is, and it's true. It's where current brand or where they're going, right? And so if this is where they're going, then I got to give it a little higher. Message clarity, emotion versus information. What are they saying? Look, I don't know what else you take from this, but that it's a wacky world out there, and you need something for it.
I thought the key message was the Ralston-sance is on. We're bringing him back.
Right. I mean, look, the message is just like, enjoy this and connect your kind of positive thoughts to this, and that's what they're doing. And so it's not a reason-based technical argument of product. It is just, do you like my brand? Here you go, right? And I'm down with that. Visual impact, I'm going to give that a 9, straight up.
Right?
Like, that is just like, boom. And I'm going to say even strategic cleverness. I'm going to go up high there as well. It's like the whatever. Look, that's not my favorite line. It's really more of kind of telling you what the marketing brief is, that it's designed for everything. It's nothing I'm going to want to put on my shirt and say, yes, I'm engineered for whatever. So I guess that part isn't. But if you see some of the executions they did in their print ads, you know what I mean? Jack Frost don't know jack shit.
Right.
That's pretty clever. That's kind of fun. And then the producer Dave's F2Gs, fucks to give. It doesn't seem like they care. I think they have 0 fucks.
Yeah, which is a perfect score in this category.
Yeah, right. Exactly. They have a reason for it. They're giving it a try. Good on you.
And that's really the overarching theme of why I take umbrage with some of the industry voices. Yeah. It's like, in a world of acoustic guitar, twilight shots of tents under a pine tree with a mountain in the distance or by an alpine lake, you gotta at least, you have to respect the attempt here, even if it's not what you would have done.
That's right.
Right?
Even if it falls flat.
Yeah.
Frankly. Yeah. You know what? That's you gotta try.
Somebody went for it for the first time.
Yes,
in a while.
There you go.
So good on you.
Right on.
All right. Well, what was the total score then?
I didn't add it up, Colin. I
41 out of 50.
Okay.
All right. Good job, Columbia, and thanks, Matt Sutton, for joining the rock fight today and giving us.
Well, and they get. I bet. Do you get 10 points for 0 fucks? Like, does that just put you over the top?
That is kind of fun if you want to go. Yeah, if it's like 0 fucks gets you 10 points.
Yeah, like boom.
Okay, good. So 51 out of 50. You guys broke.
Yeah.
You broke up. You nice job. All right, that's the show. We want your emails. Send them to myrockfight@gmail.com. Thanks again to Matt Sutton from Columbia for joining us today and for reaching out. The Rock Fight's a production of Rock Fight LLC. Today's episode was produced by producer Dave with art direction provided by Sarah Gensert. I'm Colin True. Thanks for listening. And here to take us out, he is engineered for punk rock and ska punk. Krista Makes. He's here to sing the Rock Fight fight song. We'll see you next time, Rock Fighters.
Rock Fight!